Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you see this, but likely it's going to be the morning. Pelicans Daily presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, to subscribe. You know the drill when you're chilling with Dill. What's got to be said, don't got to be said. All right, y'all. Well, I feel like, hey, the new dawn is upon us. We finally used our last two-way contract, and we used it on a guy that has a lot of talent. Bryce McGowens, who played at Nebraska, one and done, was the 40th pick in the 2022 draft by the Hornets, which couldn't be more ironic. And he recently played for the Portland Trailblazers. And while with the Blazers, he was on their G League team, the Rip City Remix, and he put up some crazy stats: 29 a game, 4 boards, 3 assists, nearly, 1.5 steals on nearly 49% from the field and 33% from the three. And if it wasn't for a rib injury, he would have been able to play all the way through. He's been compared to guys like Karis LeVert, who, shout out to Chris Lambert, who covered him with Pelican Debrief. But he's been compared to guys like Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Noel, Mikal Bridges, Anthony Simons, Nick Young, Zach LaVine, Jordan Poole, and James Bouknight. Uh, when you watch certain players and you list certain names, what are those things that are going to jump off the board? And in doing some scouting, and I knew about Bryce, I'm saying he was a 5-star recruit in his class. Um, he's a bucket getter. He's a guy that you roll the ball, 3 dribbles, 5 dribbles, go and get a bucket, go get a hoop, young man. And given that we had a pretty interesting assortment of players that we picked up in our two-way, right? Now Bryce, Hunter Dickinson, and Trey Alexander, who each offer a different skill set in one way or another, who each provide value in a different way or another, right? On the bigs with Dickinson, with the wings now with Bryce McGowens, and then at the lead guard, point maybe two, that you got Trey Alexander. And with Bryce, I mean, he's likely not going to get a crazy amount of minutes, but given our wings actually could use a little bit more depth because we have a lot more point guards than we do like two guards and small forwards. So stay tuned, but Bryce might get some burn. He might get some serious traction and play time. And if he shows the smoothness, he shows the ability to consistently get buckets. And as a team last year who struggled greatly with off the bench production, he might end up having a Brandon Boston like impact for us, which might not sound crazy in the grand scheme of things, but just think about the talent that Brandon Boston exuded this past year when given the opportunity, and seeing Bryce, there seems to be that type of burgeoning potential, can't even speak, but potential through him. Um, so gotta salute that, gotta respect that because it's all about how you make the most of the opportunity. And we're a team who, we could use some more bench scoring. It never hurts to add more. Never hurts to get more guys that can go out there, go and get a bucket, go make something happen, go do something that. All right, my bad, y'all. I thought I had something in my beard. Not like this was anything crazy. But yeah, it's always great to have somebody who can go and get a bucket when your starters need a reprieve, your starters need someone who can come in and energize. Perhaps that's what Bryce McGowens ends up doing. Not saying he's not going to have competition, but there's a lane for his role to excel and succeed. That's the thing that we're looking for. People to be able to find their lane and be able to carve out their niche, their role, go out and succeed. Go do your thing. Staying on that point, shout out to Pelicans SI with Will Despart. You know what I'm saying? A guy who I haven't mentioned as much as of recent, but does his thing as well. Obviously, I mentioned Chris a lot more, but he does his thing too, Will. But we signed Jaden Springer, another former 5-star prospect. And I remember him, he went viral a couple years ago. He was at Steph Curry's camp, and he was cooking everybody there. And his cousin's DeAndre Bembry, who I always think of. Sky Zoo had a line on this one song he did with Benny the Butcher and West Side Gun and Conway. He said, "I put 95 on your back like DeAndre Bembry." That's one of the hardest sports lines I've ever heard in my many years of living. But we just signed Jaden Springer. We signed him to a regular contract, which I found interesting. But and he was talented out of Tennessee enough to the point where he was the 28th overall pick in the 2021 draft by the Sixers. And he went from Philly to Boston and then won a title in 2024. Even got in spot duty at different times, and then he um, went on to the Jazz this last year, um, where he averaged about nearly 4 a game, 2 boards, and assists. And we just signed Jaden Springer, and Jaden Springer unfortunately just got waived, but he's a player that has a lot of potential still. He's only 22 years old as well. Both guys are only 22. He was compared to guys like Jared Bayless, Derek White, Jeremy Lin, Avery Bradley, Deshaun Stevenson, Joseph Forte, DeAnthony Melton, and Marcus Smart. Now, none of those names scream star, but they all scream high-level role player, guy who can be a difference maker on a playoff to championship winning team. Especially if he reaches that Derek White ceiling or that Avery Bradley or that Marcus Smart. I mean, I named 3 Celtics who were very instrumental in different times in helping create a resurgence, right, for a team. But then even Deshaun Stevenson was a great role player for the Wizards back in the day when they had their trio of Gilbert Arenas, Caron Butler, and Antoine Jameson. But then in 2011 with those Mavs, the team that with Dirk, with Marion, J. Kidd, um, Jason Terry, J.J. Barea. Deshaun Stevenson was a valuable role player. He was hitting big shots. He was playing lockdown defense, and he was being an agitator towards LeBron. And they already had some static. So with Jaden Springer, you know, it's tough to be a first round pick because it's different in Bryce. I mean, both these guys were 5-star recruits coming out of college. I mean, coming out of high school, sorry. And both enjoyed success as freshmen. And when you go one and done and you get drafted, some part of you sometimes might feel, oh, can't nobody stop me. Ain't nothing touching me. And probably I would imagine, for Jaden Springer, right? It's been a journey for him. It's probably been very humbling because he was a guy who's been a star for a long time and he's not fully found his footing yet. I don't know. It just really depends if he's able to play the 2 at a high level, but it seems like he's more of a 1. But if he's able to play the 2 at a high level, then he might be able to have a chance to carve a name for himself. But I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I think he's got a lot of talent. Again, that video film at Steph's camp, I mean, he was cooking every single defense. And the thing, too, is he's a great defender, which is why the comparisons to guys like Derek White, Marcus Smart, Deshaun Stevenson, Avery Bradley, those to me, those actually pop out more than anything because we do need defense. And we need defense on the perimeter. We can't just have Jose being our only defender. And we can't just wait on DeJounte because DeJounte's not even going to be back until March. So for Jaden Springer, I think he's actually going to get some burn. He's going to get some minutes just given his defensive ability. But like the old phrase goes, defense wins championships. And in that mean span, if he is able to take advantage of the defensive rotations, the defensive matchups, and be able to take those opportunities and run with them, then hey, he might be able to also then show his offensive versatility. He's a very efficient shooter for someone his age and for someone his size. So I'm not opposed to it. I like both of these moves. I think we always are going to do better when we get younger. When we get younger and we get athleticism and we get guys who are hungry. because you could do a lot as a player when you're hungry versus when you're not. When you're a little too when you're more so content and you're more satisfied, it's a different approach because you're not looking at the same way. Versus these guys, they both were at the top of the top. They were 5-star recruits. You know what I'm saying? Jaden Springer was a McDonald's All American. You know what I'm saying? And it's not on some damn homie. High school, you was the man, homie, like 50 Cent. But it's almost like, dang, it goes to show the bar for talent, right? It shows how many people were the man at their school too. And you get to a whole league where everybody was the man at some point. So I think that we made a good decision here. And obviously, when training camp rolls around and preseason, season, like that changes everything. But these are good moves to make in the offseason. And not the moves that are going to necessarily move the needle, but they are vital. They are vital. Speaking of things that are vital, Bleacher Report is finally showing us some love. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? And no, look, your eyes do not deceive you. That is Bleacher Report. Shout out to them. And also ESPN. Joe Doom. This is in a report by Mark J. Spears. Who, when I saw this, I had to jump on it just because of I know a couple people who. I know probably people are like, all these people. Look, man, I will say the sports media world is a small world. Do not let anybody fool you. So there is a significant 6 degree of separation, with Mark J. Spears. But shout out to him, and he was able to do a report on the Pelicans recently and cover an interview and those things. And he talked about with President Dumars how impressed he's been with Zion amidst all the rumors. Because that's another thing, right? Zion he's had a lot of rumors around. He's oh my gosh, I could feel that one, like the weekend. Like, I feel it coming. You know what I'm saying? My bad, y'all. But yeah, with President Dumars, like I know, like I've been probably boring y'all with the non with the instant or the never stopping, the nonstop cosigns for Zion, but I do it also for a reason because it's so important for us to be reminded that the people up top believe in Zion. Make no mistake. And I know by and large most of the fans do believe in Zion, but still got to do that. Still got to, because there's a reason why he went number one, right? There's a reason why he had all this pressure and expectation on him. It was not by joke. It was not a joke, and it was not a simple walk in the park. No. But has he fully altered and impacted the franchise the way in which we know he can? No. It's understandable and reasonable to say. But stay tuned. Stay tuned. And the fact that he's got supportive leadership, that automatically makes it so different. Not saying he didn't have support from the Griffin administration, but he has support in a way that's going to pour into him, but also challenge him. That's what he needs. That's what he needs. And, it's different. Like, I know people might hear that and say, well, he's 25. Like, he should have these things figured out. Look, one thing that veterans do so well, like good veterans, is that they teach you the ropes of how to be a professional, what it takes to be a consummate professional, how to keep getting signed, traded, X, Y, Z. But that's not something that is really appreciated because it's not like, oh, well, did your bag improve? Did your defense improve? But it's like, look, as a man, you become more mature. You become more, your bandwidth, your ability to withstand craziness and chaoticness, it grows. Now, granted, you should be out there looking for peace, looking for things that are going to be moving seamlessly. But sometimes you're going to be put in precarious situations. So I'm very excited to see what Zion does this year. Full belief, rocking out with him. And all I'm going to say is when he comes to training camp, comes to preseason, even lighter, hey, Uncle Dill tried to tell y'all. Seriously. All right, y'all. Let's get to the favorite part of the video. So, number one, when Pelicans play even 500 ball, Fans showed out. We never won playoff games series in a row, and when we 500, we there. Facts, brother. And this is from the Low Space Killer. Well, Low Space. First off, I don't believe I've ever seen you before, but my man, appreciate you. And not exactly. People don't get that though. There is really a die hardness, and even they tracked with Zion. When Zion plays at least 50% of his games, we our win record puts us in the fourth through sixth seed spot. This is why I say, like, I might sound crazy to some, but I look at it like I might sound crazy to the naked ear, but to the real hoop knowers and to the diehard fans, they know what's up. They know what this team is capable of. It just all comes down to execution. Seriously. But once that's handled and taken care of, sky's the limit, y'all. Sky's the limit. But appreciate you, Low Space Killer, because I don't believe I've ever seen you in the comment section, but appreciate you, my man. Christopher Church, Arvidas, Christopher Church 2653. Arvidas was dope. Jokic is a baby him. LOL. Bill Russell has 11 rings. Yeah, look, first off, rest in peace to Bill Russell, one of the most important athletes, one of the greatest human beings to ever play a sport. Greatest winner ever too. And shout out to Arvidas and shout out to Jokic as well. And the reason why I brought up, to some people who are watching this video going like, why are the final two being brought up? And they were brought up because of Derek Queen, right? Derek Queen, some of the comparisons he's gotten, the way his play style is. If Derek Queen reaches that type of level, it's up. It's over. The league is going to forever be on notice. The CBA will likely adjust again. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but to the real, they know what's up. They know what's up. Christopher Church 2653. I still can't believe the expected first team last year never played together. Yeah, they barely played over like 10 games together. That's the crazy part is, again, when we're fully healthy, just imagine what we're capable of. But that team last year, right, with DeJounte, with B.I., with Zion, with Eve, they played about like 10 games together. So as long as we stay healthy this year, it's going to pay dividends and make such a huge difference. I promise you. I'm going to respond a couple more, and then this video is going to be done. But I appreciate all the love. Fuzzy B and E. How you forget? Jordan Hawkins, Gaithersburg, Maryland. Facts. What am I doing forgetting about my guy, J-Hawk? J-Hawk is a legend. Love him. I'm rooting for him. I mean, I love all these guys, but I really am rooting hard for J-Hawk. Really am. Shout out to him. Beast Mode Baseball. You lost me at Angel Reese, homie. Look, hey, y'all can say whatever you want, but the Bayou Barbie, the Bayou Baddie, I don't remember her exact nickname. She's a baller. She just got to do, lock in the gym, do some more mic and drill, expand her post game, but she's got the defensive ability, the passing ability, and she's a beast in the inside. She got the most double doubles in the whole WNBA. You know what I'm saying? National championship. She won that. You know what I'm saying? She hit the Tony Yayo. Not the John Cena. Love John Cena, but that was the Tony Yayo dance first. If you know ball, you know ball. That came from Tony Yayo. G Unit, baby. G Unit. So shout out to Angel Reese, though. Seriously. Shout out to Angel Reese doing her thing, winning at life. I met Flaw J at the NIL Summit 2 years ago. Yo, Flaw J was so cool. Like, super cool. She performed everything. So shout, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I always got to show love to the LSU, you know what I'm saying? Got to, you know what I'm saying? Couple more comments. Original Don Guillory. Moses wasn't on that team, fam. It was Doc and George McGinnis. Moses didn't come until 83. You're right. I am tweaking. I tweaked on that one. That was like a minor slip up, but you're right. Shout out to George McGinnis, though. George McGinnis was a great complimentary player. Was better in that number 3 role. But yeah, I know 83 was 4-4-4, but it ended up being like 4-5-4. But hey, but yeah, I brought up and people are like, why'd you bring up that team from the Sixers, right? I brought it up because of Bill Walton, and I said that Bill Walton was a guy that you could compare a lot of centers who are of that jumbo playmaker mold. They come from that lineage. And that's the type of lineage that we're hoping that their queen, you know what I'm saying, is able to get his type of inspiration from and his skill. And it's very doable with his play style. I'm gonna respond one more comment and then that's gonna be all. Christopher Church 2653. Guys show improvement in the G League. Otherwise, why sign? Why sign him to that deal? He'd be off the team if not. That is true. Look, if you're able to make your mark in the G League, then you know what I'm saying it's equivalent to double A in baseball before you go on to that triple A status. And that's where I'm very excited for Mr. Bryce McGowens because 29 game in the G League, yeah, you over there cooking. Just like Trey Alexander, 27-28 in the G League. You was out there cooking. So now can with the stakes up, with the competition higher, can you do this with the big dogs? Can you do this with the big boys? Can you do this with the grown men of the NBA? That's the question. So we're gonna see, but I think that with most of this team, it's battle tested, and that makes it such a big impact because when you're battle tested, ain't nothing gonna stop you, right? Nothing's gonna phase you. You might get knocked down, but you keep getting up, and that's the resilience that we need to have this year. We're going. Don't get me wrong. I speak all this positive stuff, but we're gonna have our adversity. We're gonna have our different navigations where we get knocked down, we get punched in the mouth. But it's all about how you come back. You keep swinging, you keep fighting. It's like what Pop said on Friday. With these, you live to see another day. And as long as we keep that in mind, we live to see another day when we go out there, we fight, we give it our all. We do it for the fans, we do it for the city, we do it for ourselves. We're going to be able to build a team and we're going to be able to keep and maintain a team. Because it's one thing to just build it, right? But you have to be able to maintain it. When you build and instill a winning culture, it changes everything else around you. Winning is, they say winning cures all. Winning and things of that notion nature, it's infectious. So I want you to get sick of it. I want you to allow it to let it soak in, let it breathe in. You know what I'm saying? So a lot to look forward to though. A lot to look forward to though. This is not the same Pelicans team. It's not the same Pelicans team. So, hey, as always, appreciate y'all for the support. Make sure to like, to share, to support, to subscribe as well. You know what I'm saying? The numbers, baby, only going up. But keep showing love. Tell a friend, you know, send this to your most Pelicans obsessed fan friend that you know. But we only on the up. Only going up from here. But much love, y'all. Have a great one. See y'all next episode. Ciao.